Welcome back to the program. The United Nations Human Rights Council has voted to extend the mandate of the Commission of Inquiry into Human Rights in Burundi. Reuters news agency reports that this has upset attempts by a group of African countries to replace the commission with a different team. Burundi's ambassador had earlier told the other 46 members of the council that the decision to send a team of experts meant the full inquiry was no longer needed. However, the council has voted by 22 to 11 with 4 abstentions to back a European Union resolution to extend its mandate for a year. And authorities in Cameroon's southwestern region have imposed a ban on travel and public meetings ahead of a planned symbolic declaration of independence by residents of the English-speaking region. The other comes after thousands of people last week defied a government curfew which was imposed in the northwest region. Campaigners have been calling for October the 1st to be symbolically named Independence Day. English speakers have long complained of discrimination in Cameroon, saying they were often excluded from top civil service jobs and that many government documents are published only in French, even though English is an official language. Meanwhile, the country has announced its closure of sea and land borders with Nigeria. World Heart Day takes place on September the 29th every year. Created by the World Heart Foundation, World Heart Day is dedicated to raising awareness and fighting cardiovascular diseases, which accounts for nearly half of all deaths, making it the world's #1 killer. WHF aims to educate people, informing them that by controlling risk factors such as tobacco use, unhealthy diet and physical inactivity, at least 80% of premature deaths from heart disease and stroke could be avoided. We have a cardiologist with us to discuss this, and he's a senior registrar at the cardiology department at the Lagos University Teaching Hospital, Dr. Ramon Moronkola. Thanks for joining us, Dr. Ramon. The World Heart Day is essentially dedicated to raising awareness of cardiovascular diseases. But tell us, Dr. Ramon, what exactly is a cardiovascular disease?
Cardiovascular disease is a disease affecting the heart vessels. And basically, this is a disease that is caused by accumulation of material blood and lead to narrowing of the blood vessel or entire blockage of the vessel. And that is the form of cardiovascular disease. And since blood vessels in all parts of the body, different organs can suffer from this. So depending on organ that is affected, we say that is what constitutes cardiovascular disease.
It's estimated that about 17.5 million people die from CVD every year. Why is the death rate so high?
Okay, well, the reason you got the gradual rise in death caused by cardiovascular disease can be related with, if you understand the risk factors of this cardiovascular disease. One of them is, we talk about hypertension, we talk about diabetes, excessive alcohol intake, smoking, obesity, sedentary lifestyle, and the list goes on. Now, if you understand all this, we know that more and more people are getting into the fold of these risk factors. We know in an environment that used to be like a rural area some few years ago, when we eat natural from their farm. Recently, we were exposed to urbanization, fast food coming there, excess salt intake, excess more refined food, which are the drivers of this hypertension, diabetes, that eventually lead to cardiovascular disease. So we can say our change in lifestyle, adopting more Western lifestyle, even globally, many rates of obesity is rising, which are also risk factor for all this. Reasons, a lot of reasons for increasing cardiovascular disease worldwide.
Well, many thanks.
Which actually have been estimated to be more than the death caused by malaria, HIV, and the rest.
Well, thanks a lot, Dr. Ramon Moronkola, Senior Registrar at the Cardiology Department at the Lagos State University Teaching Hospital. Now, as we end the program today, an Egyptian boy stuns members of his village by eating glass and walking on fire, carrying out various displays of seemingly superhuman stunts. Would like to warn, however, that some of the visuals you might see might be upsetting to some of our viewers. Take a look at this.
A group of awestruck spectators gathered in a small village in Egypt's city of Asyut to witness a local child perform extraordinary stunts. 8-year-old Ahmed El-Hilali displayed a number of terrifying abilities, including and not limited to eating glass, lifting children with just his teeth, and tolerating fire sparks on his skin. His father, Karim El-Hilali, said he discovered his son's unusual abilities 3 years ago, when he first saw the child eating raw meat.
Well, that's indeed very scary. But just before we go on the program, the United Nations and its partners are reorganizing the protection of civilian sites in Wau, South Sudan. This is an effort to improve security and living conditions after a fresh outbreak of violence in April prompted a sudden surge of people seeking sanctuary.
The congested United Nations compound for internally displaced people in Wau in South Sudan is set to be reorganized to improve security and living conditions for some 39,000 people. The Wau Pork site currently provides only 1 to 5 square meters of space per person compared to the 30 square meters seen as the ideal in an emergency setting. However, in April this year, a fresh outbreak of violence prompted a sudden surge of people seeking sanctuary. Tens of thousands have sought shelter and protection in the UN bases around the country.
Most IDPs, the majority have told us that security is their main concern. They're in this POC site because they don't feel safe going home and staying in their houses at night. And that's really our primary concern. Security is why people are in those POC sites. We're providing humanitarian assistance the best way we can, but ideally, better security, peace in the country is really what's going to motivate people to be able to go home and resume their lives as before.
The reorganization process involves moving groups of 1,500 internally displaced people at a time to a new area where their shelters are dismantled, the land leveled, and new drainage and shelters built.
Notice that the influx in April, the 13,000 people, they're now living in an area that was before a contingency area, an area used for food distributions, an area used for emergency influxes. That is now full. Within a matter of a week, all of these people came in. So it's really quite a dire situation. As the rainy season progresses, it's a concern, the spread of malaria. You worry about fire breaks for poorly organized areas. So the main concern at the moment is organizing the POC site in the shelter in a way that people have access to humanitarian services, that it's safer, that we can continually rehabilitate drainage infrastructure and these types of things.
We're increasing our foot patrols and vehicle patrols inside the POC site. We're opening additional access points for the IDPs to come in and out, and for the search operations of the items that are being brought into the POC site. And we also maintain an area around the POC site where we patrol just to ensure that no criminal activity comes inside the POC site.
David Shearer, the Secretary General's Special Representative for South Sudan, has said that a window of opportunity for compromise over the 2015 peace agreement by warring parties is narrowing, stressing the urgency to find a political solution and for international support.
And that's our program today. Thank you for watching. I am BC Adebayo.